This is my video update on this Monday afternoon, October the 28th, coming to you from Limassol, Cyprus. Let's talk about some news. And here in Cyprus, it is a holiday, a national holiday. It is Ohi Day, the day when the Greeks and the Cypriots we also celebrate today. But this is the day when Mussolini he delivered a message to Metaxas in Greece in 1940. I believe I'm terrible with dates, but I believe it was 1940 where he delivered an ultimatum to Metaxas and told the Greeks that they must allow the Nazis and the Italians to use Greek territory, to occupy Greek territory in World War II. And Metaxas said, "Ohi." He said, "No." Actually, it's more accurate. Metaxas, more to be more historically accurate, Metaxas said, "Ohi, no," but he actually said, "Let there be war," or "Then it is war." He said something like that, and that was the beginning of Greece's involvement in World War II. So today is a big holiday here in Cyprus and in Greece, Ohi Day, the day of no. So let's talk about some news. And there were elections in Japan yesterday, right? And I don't know much about politics in Japan, but I do know that the LDP party, the liberal, what does the LDP stand for? Liberal Democrat Party, I believe, that that they got crushed in these elections. They failed to win a majority in these parliament elections. These were snap elections that were called by the new prime minister Ishida. He actually called snap elections, thinking that his party, the LDP, would be able to secure a majority and majority support in Japan. And the result was that they failed to get majority, and they now have to form a coalition, and they're going to have to form a coalition a coalition with the parties that opposed them, because the parties that opposed them, the opposition, actually did, from what I understand, did fairly well. And so it looks like the LDP party is going to have to, from a position of weakness, is going to have to approach the opposition parties and try to form a coalition government. The LDP, they have been ruling over Japan since 1955, with the exception of 1 or 2 years, I believe 1990 or 1999 and 2000 and I don't know 2004, something like that. There were two instances when the LDP was not ruling, but since 1955, with those two exceptions, Japan has been pretty much a one-party state. So this is huge news. Ishida gambled, and the gamble did not pay off. And this result is because a lot of corruption and scandals in Japan, and the people are pissed off. And so they sent a message to the LDP and to Prime Minister Ishida. So Annalena 360, she landed in China, and this should be my cloud world actually. And she was greeted by no one. Annalena shows up in China, and she walks down the stairs, and there's no one there. There's no Chinese officials. At least that's how it looks. There's no Chinese officials there to greet her, and she's kind of confused. Where do I go? What do I do? And that was just a funny video. But it highlights how far Germany has fallen. It also highlights China's very cool sense of humor, I must admit. Remember what they did to Ursula when she was leaving China, when she was leaving Beijing, and they made her go through the lines that all of us travelers have to go through, the customs and the passport control that us normal people go through. They made her do the routine that normal travelers have to go through instead of fast tracking her through a special line or something like that as she was leaving China. That was funny, man. Ursula. No one respects Ursula, man. No one respects Annalena. Oh, man. So she gets off the plane and she's looking around. Where's my reception? Where do I go? Got to go to baggage claim, Annalena. You got to go pick up your baggage, then go through passport controls, go through customs, and then find an Uber to take you to where your hotel is. I don't know. Anyway, that was a funny video. Annalena 360. But Volkswagen in Germany, they announced that they're going to be closing down factories and laying off a lot of people. Germany's decline. Volkswagen wants to close at least 3 plants in the country and cut tens of thousands of jobs. Is Olaf Scholz going to talk up more money to Ukraine? I don't think so. I don't think he is. This is why Germany is tapping out. Germany's tapping out of Project Ukraine because they're tapped out of money and companies are leaving. And Scholz is trying to blame Russia. It was Russia that cut off the gas. Scholz is saying they cut off the gas. I don't know why they cut off the gas. They just did it. One day Putin woke up and he just turned off the gas. I don't know why he did it. That's what Scholz is running with, but I don't think people are going to believe Scholz's narrative. You have to be pretty brain dead to believe what Scholz is dishing out, saying that Putin just woke up one day and shut off the gas. Anyway, that's why Volkswagen is closing down 3 plants and is going to be laying off tens of thousands of people. No more cheap Russian gas, no more cheap Russian resources. All gone. And for what? For Zelensky. For Zelensky. Man. Oh, boy. So in Georgia, the president, Salome Zourabichvili, she has refused to certify the results of the elections in Georgia, the parliament elections in Georgia, which saw Georgia Dream win with 54% of the vote. The ruling party, Georgia Dream, they won the elections, and they're the party. They're anti. I don't even want to say they're anti-EU. They just don't want to give up Georgia's sovereignty to the European Union. They don't want to sacrifice Georgia's sovereignty for those EU values, right, and the EU demands that they're placing on Georgia. And one of the demands that the collective West, that the EU has of Georgia, is for Georgia to start a second front against Russia. That's pretty much what the European Union wants. They want Georgia to stir up trouble with Russia, and Georgia Dream is saying no, we don't want to. we don't want to be sacrificed like Ukraine was sacrificed in this proxy war. We would like to look after the best interests of our people, and we would like to keep our Georgian culture and values and everything. We would like to remain Georgia, but we're not. They're not against the European Union, but if you don't comply 100% with the globalists and the EU, then you have to be eliminated. That's what EU values are all about. 100% compliance, or you're gone. So Zourabichvili, who is 100% compliant with the EU values, she has refused to certify the election results, even though the Georgia Election Committee, they've called it. They have said that Georgia Dream did indeed win these elections. And Zourabichvili, she's actually calling on Georgians to go to the streets and protest. She wants people to pour onto the streets of Tbilisi and to try and overturn the election results. She actually declared herself to be Get this. She said this in a speech she made yesterday. She declared herself to be the only independent institution left in the state. She then called on Georgians to join protests on Monday evening to show the world that we do not recognize this election. Tonight, she wants protests to go down tonight. Another Maidan. That's basically what she's calling for. Another Maidan. And we all know how that eventually ended for Ukraine, the whole Maidan movement of 2014, which is coming to an end. It's playing out in Ukraine right now. Russia is bringing the whole Maidan movement to a finale. But yeah, that is what she said. She's the only independent institution, her office of the president. Zourabichvili, Salome Zourabichvili, who was born in Paris, previously worked for the French Foreign Ministry, not the Georgian Foreign Ministry, the French Foreign Ministry for many years, including as France's ambassador to Georgia, before getting Georgian citizenship in 2004 and being quickly promoted to the position of the nation's top diplomat. She then held this post for about a year. This person, this president of Georgia, got her citizenship in 2004. She was France's ambassador to Georgia, and she worked for the French Foreign Ministry, and she is calling herself the only independent institution in Georgia. She is saying that she's independent. Really? Really? She's the one that is calling on citizens in Georgia to overturn the Georgian elections. A person that got her citizenship in 2004 that was working with the French Foreign Ministry. Yeah, I'm sure that she's independent. I'm positive that Salome Zourabichvili is independent. Oh yeah, you're very, very independent. Very, very, very independent. Working for the French Foreign Ministry and being France's ambassador. That's very independent. And she's going to decide. She wants to decide the outcome of the election. This one person wants to decide the outcome of Georgia's election because she's unhappy that the parties that she backed, not even the party, not even one political party, this coalition that the EU put together, she's upset that they lost. Fair and square, they lost. EU democracy, everybody. Democracy according to the collective West and according to the European Union. If we don't win, then we try to overturn those results, and we try to have another election, or get some sort of protest, some sort of regime change, until we get the results that we as Brussels demand. These are EU values. Boris Johnson is also upset at the fact that Georgians decided to vote for Georgia. They picked Georgia over the European Union, which is effectively what this vote was about. Either you surrender yourself to the European Union, or you choose Georgia's sovereignty, and so people chose Georgia's sovereignty. And Boris Johnson is upset about that. He posted on X, "The picture emerging from Georgia is clear. Yesterday's election has been stolen by Putin's puppet government in Tbilisi. I back the people of Georgia as they stand up for their freedom, their rights, and their future." How does Boris know this? How does Boris know that the election was stolen? Really, Boris? Isn't destroying one country enough? Isn't sabotaging the peace plan, the ceasefire in Ukraine, isn't that enough damage for one human being? Haven't you caused enough damage to one country? Now you want to sabotage and destroy Georgia as well? Really, Boris? Why would anyone listen to Boris the clown? Why would anyone listen to this guy? Boris, man. Boris is trying to make Tony Blair look good. That's what Boris is trying to do. He's making Tony Blair look freaking freaking rational, peaceful. He makes Tony Blair look peaceful. Oh my God, Boris Johnson. So, so Blinken, he's calling on an investigation, of course, into the elections in Georgia. Of course, Blinken is now trying to stir up trouble, and Michel, the European Council president, he is demanding that the Georgian leadership demonstrate its firm commitment to the country's EU path. That is what Michel is demanding. And you know why he's coming out with a statement like this. He posted this on X. He's posting this because what the EU is now trying to do, what everyone is now trying to do, Boris Johnson, Zourabichvili, by trying to send people out onto the streets, Blinken by calling for an investigation, and Michel by demanding that Georgia commit to their EU path. What they're trying to do is they are trying to create the dynamics of Maidan 2014, Ukraine, Maidan 2014. They're trying to make the narrative to be either Georgia chooses the EU or they choose Russia, which is false, completely false. What Georgia chose is sovereignty. That's what Georgia chose. And in 2014, contrary to what the Collective West media report, what they tell you, in 2014, Yanukovych did not choose Russia over the European Union. Russia just gave Ukraine a better loan deal. That was it. That was it. Ukraine needed money. Russia said, here's a loan with very few strings attached. The European Union said no, you have to surrender your sovereignty to us. And Russia even told Ukraine at the time, we don't care if you get into the European Union. You can be with us. You can work with us, with Russia, and you can also enter the European Union as well. We have no problem. The European Union said, no, we don't want you to be part of Russia's economic sphere. We don't want you to work with Russia. It's either us or them. That is what the EU told Ukraine. It's either us or them. And then they created the whole dynamics of Maidan. And that's what they're trying to do. That's why Michel is putting out a statement like this. He demands to know if Georgia's committed to the European Union. They want to create the narrative, just like they did in Ukraine, that Georgia and Georgia Dream is choosing Russia over the European Union. And they want to pit Georgians against Georgians. They want to create division and chaos and violence. Georgia, don't fall for it. Do not fall for it. Hopefully no one shows up to this protest. We'll see tonight. We'll see if this is a big protest. But if it is a big protest, hopefully it happens for one night and that's it. And everyone goes home and goes to sleep and wakes up tomorrow and goes to work and goes about their lives. Because what they're trying to do is they're trying to tear Georgia apart. That's what they're trying to do. Trying to overturn the elections. And if they can't overturn the elections, then they'll opt for destroying Georgia. So we'll see what will happen tonight. Pashinyan, Armenia's prime minister, he congratulated Georgia Dream on winning the election. So good on Pashinyan. I rarely compliment Pashinyan, but in this instance, I say good on Armenia, Georgia's neighbor in the region, and Orban. Man, Orban he's amazing. Orban, I have to say, he announced that he's going to be traveling to Tbilisi today, and he is going to be in Georgia today and tomorrow. This is a great move from Orban, a brilliant move from Orban. Orban knows what they're trying to do. He knows what what the EU and what Ursula and the globalists are trying to do. He knows that they want to overturn the elections, and if they can't do that, he knows that they want to cause chaos and trouble in Georgia. So what does Orban do? He says, "I'm going to travel to Georgia." He congratulated Georgia Dream. I think he was actually the first collective West leader that congratulated Georgia Dream on their election win. And Orban said, "You know what? I'm going to go to Tbilisi." This is very smart, because what happened in Ukraine, in Kiev, was the reverse. What you had happen was that everyone that wanted to overthrow and to coup Yanukovych, like McCain and who else, that EU Parliament guy, who's that guy's name? Verhofstadt, Sikorsky, all of these guys, they turned up in Kiev so that they can push to remove Yanukovych. What Orban is doing is the exact opposite. He is saying, "I'm going to go to Tbilisi in order to give support to Georgia Dream, and to let them know that they have support in Europe. They have Hungary support, which is going to give the people that are trying to stir up trouble in Georgia, it's going to give them some pause. If Orban is in Tbilisi, they're going to think twice about causing chaos." Very, very good move from Orban. Very smart. Very, very smart. So that is what Orban said. He is in Georgia today and tomorrow. Yeah. So let's talk about the U.S. elections. And Axios is reporting that Harris is stiff-arming Biden. She is stiff-arming Biden in final stretch. You guys know what a stiff arm is, right? In football, when the running back stiff arms someone that's about to tackle him, they give them a good old stiff arm to avoid being tackled. And that is what Harris is doing to Bidenopolis. She's stiff-arming him. Axios. What is Axios saying? President Biden wants to campaign for Vice President Harris in the last days before the election. Harris's campaign keeps responding, "We'll get back to you." 3 people familiar with the dynamic told Axios. Why it matters: Harris's team believes Biden is a political liability at a crucial time in the campaign, but is reluctant to directly say they don't want him to campaign for her. It's the latest example of Democrats and even some of Biden's staff tiptoeing around the 81-year-old president's ego and feelings. So Biden is a liability. He is a liability, and Harris needs to give him the good old stiff arm. Keep away from me, Biden. Wow. And they don't want to tell Biden. They don't want to tell Biden, except now Axios has reported on this. So everyone knows. Biden now knows that Harris is stiff-arming him. She doesn't want Biden to campaign for her. And that's got to hurt Biden's ego big time. But then again, Biden wasn't exactly campaigning for Harris. He was trying to sabotage Harris. Wasn't exactly campaigning for her. At least that's my opinion. Biden, the evil genius that he is, pretending to want to help Harris and to campaign for her. But actually, what Biden was doing is he was trying to sabotage Harris. And it looks like the Harris campaign has finally caught on. You know, I think that Joe, Miss Kamala, I think that Joe is really not trying to help us get elected. I think he's trying to sabotage us. Maybe he's still bitter about being coup d'etat. Oh, man. So that is what Axios is reporting. Yesterday, Trump had a huge rally in New York, Madison Square Garden. How are the Yankees doing in the World Series, man? They're down 2-0, aren't they? The Dodgers took game 1 and they took game 2. But Trump was in Madison Square Garden. Big rally, from what I understand, 30,000 people inside the garden. And is this true? 70,000 people were outside? Is that accurate? That's what Elon Musk is saying. There were 70,000 people just standing in the streets around MSG. The movement is massive. Wow. Big rally in New York City. So let's do an update on Project Ukraine. And the Russian Ministry of Defense, they are reporting that over 27,000 Ukraine military casualties, 27,000 plus military casualties in Kursk since the beginning of Zelensky's successful Kursk incursion, his successful invasion of Russia. Yeah. 27,000 plus Ukraine military casualties. What a debacle, Kursk. What a debacle for the Ukraine military. And I was reading this morning that a string of towns and villages have been captured by Russia. Since they captured Selidovo, they also captured, I believe, like 4 or 5 other small villages and towns as well. But I forgot all the names. Just a list of areas and towns that the Russian military captured over the past couple of days. And Yermak, Zelensky's entertainment lawyer, and now he's the man that's really, or at least the rumor is that he's the man that's really running the show. I don't even know if I'm supposed to be inside here, actually. Probably not. I don't know. Beautiful though, huh? That's beautiful right there. Those trees, park bench. It's nice. Anyway, Yermak, he said that Zelensky is updating. Which way should I go? Let's go up this way. He said that Zelensky is updating his peace plan, his peace formula. He is updating it, and it will be ready in November. And Yermak said that Zelensky is willing to incorporate ideas in his new updated, revised peace plan. He is willing to incorporate ideas from China, Brazil, and India. Podolyak, maybe we put in new peace plan some ideas from Brazil and China and India. What you say, Podolyak? Hey, turtle. We found another turtle. My friend, how are you? Find the turtles in Limassol, everybody. Find the turtles. They're all over the place. It says here Diva, I don't know. Maybe the turtle's name is Diva, I don't know. Who knows? So yeah, he's willing to incorporate. Isn't that nice of Zelensky? He's willing to incorporate ideas from China, Brazil, and India. Basically, Zelensky is saying, please, China, Brazil, India, help me get out of this mess. I can't come out and say that I'm going to agree to your peace initiatives. They're not even peace plans. China, Brazil, India, they basically put out a peace roadmap. I can't even say peace anymore. I say peace. They basically put out a peace roadmap. Peace initiatives is basically what they have put out. And Zelensky, he's basically saying, look, China, India, Brazil, help me out, because my peace formula has been rejected by everybody. And I need a way out of this mess, and I can't come out and say that I'm just going to adopt your peace ideas. I can't say that because then the Banderites are going to get me. So let me just kind of rework this and say that I'll incorporate some of your ideas into my formula, and I'll still call it my peace formula with a little bit of China, Brazil, and India in there. Does that work for you guys? Zelensky, man, he's in a world of trouble, man. He's in a big time mess. But Ukraine and Zelensky signed into law for the Ukraine military to allow foreign mercenaries to serve as army officers. A new law is aimed at tackling a shortage of commanders in Kiev's armed forces. The law allows foreigners who have a contract with Ukrainian military to take positions of authority in the army, regardless of their citizenship. Now, why do they have a shortage of commanders? Why do they have a shortage of commanders? I think we know the answer to that question. But Maria Zakharova said that basically what Zelensky is doing, what the Ukraine military is doing by allowing foreigners to serve as commanders is that those foreigners, according to Maria Zakharova, they're not going to feel any connection or any sympathy for the Ukraine soldiers. And so they'll send them to their annihilation without any hesitation. That's basically, I'm summarizing what Zakharova said. So India has become Europe's top fuel supplier, even though India isn't a gas, fuel, oil country, right? Somehow they've become Europe's top fuel supplier. I don't know. I'm starting to think. I don't know. Let me know if I'm right about this, everybody. But I've got a suspicion that maybe the EU is buying oil from India? Maybe? Russian oil? Do you think that the European Union is funding Putin's war machine by buying Russian oil, which is being refined in India and then sent to the European Union at 5 times the price? Would the European Union be doing such a thing? I don't know. I just have a suspicion. It's just a suspicion that this is how India became such a big supplier of oil, that it's really not India's oil, but it's actually Russia's oil. Oh boy, I cannot believe that. No way is Ursula buying Russian oil refined in India and funding Putin's war machine. No way. No, not happening. I can't believe it. It's just a suspicion that I have, just a hunch. I don't know. I believe this is U.S. News, and is this U.S. News? Yeah, U.S. News, World of Statistics, the world's top 15 strongest militaries. So we already know that Russia is the second strongest military in Ukraine, according to Anthony Blinken and Kirby, right? Love is dead. Protect your heart. Love is dead. Protect your heart. That's interesting. Very interesting. What a beautiful building. So, yeah, the 15 strongest military. So Russia is the second strongest military in Ukraine, according to Blinken and Kirby and Lloyd Austin and Bidenopoulos, Greece's favorite son. But the U.S. News and World Report also has Russia as the strongest military in the world. Number 1. The United States is number 2. Israel's number 3. China number 4. South Korea 5. And then it goes Iran, UK. The UK, really? Really? The UK? Doesn't the UK have like 4 tanks left or something like that? I don't know. Then after the UK is Ukraine. Maybe, yeah, Ukraine used to be a very strong military, but I think that's going to change in the next couple of months. But Ukraine is there, Germany, Turkey, and you can see the rest of the list on your screen. So how can Russia be the strongest military in the world while also being the second strongest military in Ukraine? How does that work exactly? I don't know. I'm confused. And, and Duda, according to the Sunday Times, I don't know when this was published, but the Sunday Times, they have an article with the title, "A New Iron Curtain Could Protect Us from Putin," says Polish president. Yeah, the Iron Curtain that Duda's talking about is not to protect European citizens from Putin, from Russia. It's meant to keep EU citizens in, and not to protect them from the outside. It's meant to lock them inside the EU, to keep them inside the EU. That's what the Iron Curtain is about. Anyway, that's from Duda. Let's do some clown worlds, and we will wrap this video up. And the first clown world is Kamala Harris. She was asked about the polling numbers, and she said, "My internal polling is my instinct." What do you think about the polling numbers, Miss Harris? I don't look at the polling data. I don't look at the polling numbers. My instinct, my internal polling is my instinct. That's how you know she's losing. I don't know. Maybe she's winning. I don't know. But that's not a good sign. When you say it's my instinct, I don't look at the numbers. I go by my instinct. That's when you know you're in trouble. When you come out with statements like that. Oh man, too much graffiti. Too much graffiti. Come on, Limassol. Too much. Too much on these beautiful buildings, man. These buildings are really nice. Beautiful, man. Why would you put graffiti on these beautiful buildings? And one last clown world. De Niro was at a Kamala Harris rally, an event in New York City, I believe, and he called Trump a POS. Robert De Niro, tough guy, De Niro. Go back to acting, De Niro. But you know, lately you've been putting out some pretty bad movies, some pretty crap movies. So maybe he's upset about the fact that he's no longer the actor that he once was. He's got a bad case of TDS, De Niro, really bad case. But yeah, he called Trump a POS. Tough guy, De Niro. thinks he's a mobster. He still thinks he's a tough mobster, De Niro. and DiCaprio was also there, supporting Harris. Leonardo DiCaprio was also supporting Harris. The man who wants to be like De Niro. DiCaprio's a De Niro wannabe. DiCaprio tries to play the tough De Niro mobster character, but in all of his roles where he plays a tough mobster, DiCaprio, to me he comes off as the guy in the Titanic, right? He tries to play that tough mobster role, but I always think of the guy in the Titanic in each of his roles. That's all I see. Oh, man. Anyway, that's the video, everybody. theduran.locals.com. We are on Rumble, Odyssey, BitChute, Telegram, Rockfid, and Twitter X. And go to the Duran shop. Pick up some merch, like the shirt that I am wearing today in this video. There is a link in the description box down below. 20% off. Use the code October 20. Take care.